Hello everybody, it's Pant3ra from WCReplays.com, bringing you an audio commentary. This audio has been copyrighted 2005 by WCReplays.com. Okay, today's matchup is MadFrog versus DeMuslim Sun on Turtle Rock, Undead versus Human, and there's some pretty good play by MadFrog in this game. Some stuff to show you when you're at a big disadvantage, how to get yourself out of that, pretty much pull the game out of your ass and win. So let's get this paused at the 2-minute and 30-second mark. I know that the hero with an early altar comes out at the 2-minute mark about, but I get more and more impatient as the days go by, and so at the 2-minute and 30-second mark he's beginning to harass the human. And I'll summarize things up too a little bit too, since I pretty much did the 2-minute 30-second mark because I spaced out, and I'm not going to restart this audio unless I completely mess up in it, like really bad. But anyways, alright, he got there. Didn't kill anything because the human militia creeped it out, so the human pretty much got all the experience for the win and the item for the win. And yep, the Death Knight's just coming in. Okay, so yeah, it's pretty much cookie cutting stuff right now, and I'll be explaining why, what is good, and all that good stuff, and all. Yeah. All right. Hopefully you guys are at the 2-minute and 30-second mark. I know I didn't give you that much time, but that's just too bad because the site will say to pause at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So, anyways, let's get this unpaused. In 3, 2, 1, unpause. Alright, so the Death Knight came in, but came in a little too late, so he's going to coil that water elemental. The reason why he's doing that is when the human ends up out creeping you, and you can't steal any of their creeps due to if you're on a realm with bad lag, or if you just get there too late because he militia creeps it. You really want to go for his water elemental so you won't be so far behind in experience and levels. And that's really bad if you don't end up getting those water elementals. So go ahead and you can waste a coil on it. Don't be afraid to. It's a footman worth of experience is. And sure, the water elementals end up dispelling anyways, or at least timing out or whatever anyways. But it doesn't really matter. It's you're going to be really far behind. If MadFrog didn't coil those 2 water elementals, he'd obviously be at 0 experience, level 1, while the human is at level 2 already, and that'd be really bad. That would not be good. Okay, so he's going to he's splitting up the skeletons, and the skeletons time out, so that wasn't too good. He just wants to. You want to keep an eye on the human, but at the same time, you don't want to get too close to him of taking too much damage and whatnot. So he's looking around, and then also he's starting to creep because he has enough lumber now. Alright, so while you're creeping and your Death Knight's separate from anything, from your ghouls and whatever, you obviously can't pick up items. And so if that was a mantle of intelligence right there, that the ghouls were creeping out and not a cloak of shadows, or something that would benefit an intel hero more than the Death Knight, just go ahead and attack it and kill it right there, because if that Archmage picks that up, that's just bad news. It's not good. So he can't find the human creeping, which is bad. So he picks up a staff of teleportation, so he can go ahead and teleport to the ghouls. And what's really good about this too is, like, what separates like good players from Gosu players is they use their items like so much more than just the average BNet player. They find a use for their items anyway and anyhow. It's just amazing. All right, so he's gonna go in. He just picked up a wand of lightning shield, so we're going to watch what he does with this once he goes to the human's base. Now, about this time is probably the last time you can solo DK harass the human, because right about now, they're at tier 2. Let's take off the Fog of War. Alright, he's almost at tier 2. The MK is going to come out, though, soon. So, about this time is the last time you can really harass the human. Because with the MK, with the bolt, and the surround, that's bad news. And also, sure, you may have a staff of teleportation and whatnot, but it's still bad news because you're not going to get anywhere with it. He's going to be creeping. You're going to try to coil something, but before he lets you coil any creeps by getting him that low, he's going to end up bolting you and surrounding you, and you're going to have to staff a teleportation out. And it's a big waste of your time, not really a big waste of his. So he goes in there right now. He puts those Wanda lightning shields on the ghouls and just starts attacking the gold mine peasants, which forces them to get off. And like there's a bunch in the red right now. So staff of lightning shield or a wand of lightning shield usually usually sells for about 75 gold, I believe 100 gold maybe. I don't keep track on how much they sell for exactly, but I know they don't sell for much. So by using that wand of lightning shield and whatnot and getting well over, I think he got 3 peasants, maybe 4. Yeah, 4 or 5 peasants. So that's 75 gold per peasant with a bunch of experience, which is going to slow down his income for economy. He had to take those peasants off the gold mine for a while to move them around. He only has 4 on, I believe, right now. Yep. Okay. No, maybe 5. I don't know. Yeah, us undead players don't really need to count when the peasants go back and forth to the gold mine because we have our acolytes. So we can they just chill there. It's easier to count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, good game. And anyways, so he made that staff of teleportation, he staff of teleportationed out once the humans surrounded him in there, which is really good. That basically paid off. Like he made the staff of teleportation well worth the buying of it, well worth the gold, and also he made that wand of lightning shield well worth the gold too. Instead of selling it for whatever little amount of gold he could, he ended up just using it and gaining a big advantage over that. Alright, so he sees him creeping, he's moving in the ghouls, and unfortunately the Death Knight gets bolted and surrounded right here. So he uses a staff of teleportation again to bring the Lich in, novas some units, tries to pick off units before he TPs out, and unfortunately he doesn't get any units. Now this is a good idea to wait till you TP out at the last second if you're far away from your base, because they can obviously just run in there, pick your Death Knight off, and that's no fun. And also, if the Mountain King did not use a Storm Bolt on you, like they just somehow surrounded you from slow or something, or from you just not paying attention, then you definitely don't want to wait until you're like around 100, 200 health, and then you get bolted all of a sudden, and then you can't TP out because you're stunned and you lose your hero. And that's not fun at all. And then you end up making some comments about how imba the MK is, and then the human's like, yeah, fuck you too. And then it's not good times. So, alright, the DK's low and the Lich is a little low. So, right now, he just wants to go creep. You don't want to, like, harass undead anymore right now. The human has sorceresses out. You don't have any way to counter that yet because you're not at tier 3 with your destroyers, and you just need to get those heroes up so you have a higher level of coil and nova. All right, so here's where it's a bad idea to harass the human, because sorry about that, throat got clogged up. All right, because first of all they have slow, especially when your Death Knight is this low on health. He has an MK with brilliance on him. He's already level 2, so he can easily bolt clap you. That's ouch. And just the slow. The slow is really bad. You'll see in a second. Yeah, you'll see in a second. It's bad. Alright, so they put slow on the Death Knight, and the Death Knight's going his move speed is very slow. Notice how the human doesn't waste his bolt on the Death Knight yet, because if you use a bolt on the Death Knight, then right when he gets out of his stun, you can do Staff of Teleportation, and the cooldown on the bolt does not cool down until the Death Knight is out of there, and then the Mountain King can bolt again. So he uses the bolt once the DK's in the red, which is a good idea, because even if the DK somehow he could have used it a little bit earlier, because if the DK got out of that stun and used the Staff of TP, or Staff of Preservation, or what am I thinking? Too much Night Elf I'm playing. Staff of Teleportation. Alright, if he uses Staff of Teleportation, he's still not going to get out of there, because most likely he's in like 50 health or whatever. And also, since he used the bolt on the Lich because he didn't see a Staff of Teleportation. I was going to say Staff of Preservation again, because I play too much Night Elf now. So, alright, he used the bolt on the Lich because he didn't see a Staff of Teleportation, and the Lich dies really fast anyways. So, okay. Now, you don't want to, when you have at least one hero out, you don't want to just sit in your base. That's going to seal it. Right now, the human's going to push on him. This is a really good time to push for every matchup when you're really cookie cutting with undead and the human's cookie cutting too. It's a really bad time for the undead to get hit because the ghouls do not have frenzy yet. I do not believe they might. Yep. And the undead does not get their destroyers out. Now, unfortunately, right here, the human waited a little too long for the undead to get his for the undead to attack, or to push the undead. So the undead did get destroyers out. But usually, if you hit the undead a little earlier than this, they don't have frenzy, they don't have destroyers, and that's bad news because the slow is going to completely own all the ghouls, and the riflemen are going to own them, and it's no fun. So another thing too. The human TP'd out before losing much of his army at all, which is another thing that really separates the really good players from the really bad ones. And that is, when you see two good players fighting, like two higher level players fighting, you'd never see one player completely get his whole army just raped, and then he TP's out, and the other one has like a 60 food army versus like a 20 food army or something. You don't usually see that. I mean, sure it happens, but not too often. And the reason why is the more games you play on solo, just like you can predict the outcome. And don't be afraid to TP if you see that, like if you can see the outcome in your head and you're like, wow, I'm going to get owned in this battle and there's no way I can just run, then for sure you're going to have to TP out. That's just a must, or it's really going to hurt you. It's going to bite you in the ass if you don't waste that 350 gold right now. It's mostly the people that are tight asses about their gold and too afraid to spend it, and are all like preservative, and yeah. So, and later on they just ends up costing them more because all the units they lost, and feeds the other person the experience and all that bad stuff. So, alright. So now MadFrog is still at a slight disadvantage though, because he lost both of his heroes, and I mean, he got a pretty good advantage at tier 2 by picking off those peasants, but it doesn't compare to losing your Death Knight and Lich while